Party folks held me hostage. They forced me to say extreme and radical things like balance the budget. Support cut Captain's balance. And worst of all, they made me vote against a bill that did not cut spending. To increase our debt over the next 10 years. But just like a lot of hostage situations, I came to love my captain. And Obama's going to do a bus tour to get the economy going again. Now, I had growing concerns that President Obama may not understand how the American economy really works, or what kind of serious trouble we were really in. And yesterday, my worst fears were confirmed. A reporter overheard the president asking a bus driver a question. This was a question. Now that we've lost AAA, who are we going to call when this bus breaks down? You've all been a part of a remarkable awakening in our country. People from all walks of life, all political persuasions, have come together all across our country because of their concern and their fear of the out-of-control spending, the growing debt, and the expansion of government into all areas of the private sector. People are genuinely afraid for our country. But what we saw is Americans take back their country, at least in part, over the last 2 years. People took to the streets. A lot of you were there too. They came to rallies in Washington. They went to town halls all across the country. They sent emails. They called congressmen and senators. They got behind candidates who couldn't win. We were told, no chance for Marco Rubio. No chance for Rand Paul. Wisconsin, but I now serve with all 5 of those senators today. But because of you, and as soon as these good senators walked in the door, things that they said never could happen started to happen. They told me for years, Jim, you can't change the Senate. You can't stop wasteful pork barrel parochial earmarks. You'll never change that. But as soon as they walked in the door, we banned the earmarks and began to focus on the good of the nation. And the next thing we did in the Republican conference, led by a lot of these freshmen, was to pass a resolution that we would fight for a balanced budget amendment to the Constitution. This new group has started to change the whole debate in America because of you. But what we saw during the last 2 years was power slip out of the hands of the Washington establishment and into the hands of the American people. All during the campaign, we were dismissed by Republicans and Democrats alike. We were told we would fizzle out before the elections, and that we wouldn't make any difference, and our candidates could not win. Even when 1 million people came to Washington on 9/12, they were ignored, even by a lot of Republicans. But the whole paradigm in Washington has changed now. I know that I get up every morning that there are at least 5 or 6 younger, brighter, better-looking senators living out before me who go out and carry the torch for freedom. And that was because of you. My life's a whole lot better now because I've got a team to fight with. And that team is helping to embolden Republicans who've been there a long time and are rediscovering their conservative roots. We're not winning yet in Washington. We didn't win the debate for the CR. We didn't win the whole debt limit debate. But we did change the dynamic. And if Republicans will understand the new paradigm, we're going to start winning this. The big mistake we made is we should never go behind closed doors and negotiate with the Democrats. What we need to do, we should have done 3 months ago and not just a few weeks ago, is to put the right plan, the right solution on the table and take our case to the American people and ask them to help. A lot of you are here today, put together the largest coalition of grassroots conservatives, Tea Party activists to get behind cut, cap, and balance. We've been told by our own leadership in the House and the Senate that these Republican freshmen would not work with anyone to do what we needed to do to move the country ahead. But all we had to do is show them Americans were behind them. And we got just about every Republican and 5 Democrats to support cut, cap, and balance. And it was gaining so much steam that Harry Reid wouldn't even let it on the floor of the Senate for debate. What we need to do as Republicans from now on, and that's why I don't like this new super Congress, is we go behind closed doors. We have a bill pop out like a piece of bread out of a toaster, and we're going to be asked to eat it, and it isn't going to be good. But what we have to do is take our case to the American people. Because millions of Americans, if they get engaged, they can change things in Washington. We saw it last year. We're going to see it again in 2012. This is not about partisan differences. Our country is in a place it's never been before. The kind of debt we have, where we borrow $140 billion every month just to pay our regular bills. I know what happens to businesses that operate that way. As soon as the bank says no more money, you're out of business. And what's going to happen to us as soon as China says no more money? We'll keep borrowing more. Well, what's been happening this year is the Federal Reserve has been printing. And this is something we've got to stop. We've got to take control of. I want to leave you with. We are America. We are Americans. There is an instinctive love of freedom in the hearts of just about every American. Even those that are hopelessly dependent on the government, who have been told lies for years, America will respond to the call for freedom. And we need to take our case to the American people. We need to let them know that our best days are in front of us. That the principles of freedom that made this country great, prosperous, and compassionate are still at work today. I see it all over South Carolina and all over the country. People are starting families, they're starting businesses, they're working hard, they're sacrificing, and they're being smothered by a huge federal government, but they're still making this work, despite what the government's doing. And we need to make our numbers grow. We need to communicate to every American and invite them to join this fight for freedom in 2012. We have to sound the alarm that this could be our last chance to turn our country around. But we also have to remind everyone that we are Americans, we can win this, we can make our future brighter than our past, but we have to go out and fight for it. Last election, only 29% of those over 18 voted. 70% in Iraq. People who want more from government are organized and they're going to come out and vote. We have to take our neighbors with us. The good news today is we no longer have to hold a press conference and hope NBC coverage. Over half of Americans get their news from the internet. Places like Redstate, they can count on the truth and an honest perspective of what's going on. We have the ability now to communicate with millions of grassroots activists across the country. What they want is some honesty and courage. They want candidates who have character, tolerance, and courage today. We need your help finding those candidates for the House, the Senate, and especially for the President. I encourage all of you, hold your fire, keep your powder dry, keep interviewing these candidates. Let's find out where they really stand on the tough issues.
DeMint for President!
Remember, folks, this is America. Freedom works. Let's let it work. Let's go out and fight for it. Let's make 2012 even a bigger earthquake election than we had. Yes!